MLB Talk, New York's #1 baseball podcast. Now here's your hosts, Chris Pizzaya and Rob Maraska.
And welcome to a new episode of MLB Talk with your host, Rob, and myself, Chris. And remember, you could follow us on Twitter. You could follow us on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere, YouTube at MLB Talk. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that sub button for us. That would be awesome. Or the like button. That would be great. Anyway, Rob, what's going on?
Hey, Chris, finally a better opening for Met fans this show. Finally, what did you say?
Good and bad, you got.
Yeah, oh yeah, good and bad. Well, yeah, you got to take the good with the bad. Yeah, of course. But listen, at least the Mets split with the Braves. It didn't look good after those first two games, but everything's better. The Mets are back in first place by a half game over the Phillies, and, hopefully they build on this. But like you said, there's a little trouble in Metland.
Yeah, another big injury. But let's talk about the series because
it looks like Chris disappeared. So he wanted to talk about the series, and I'll just say the Mets split against the Braves, and I was definitely worried about what was going on. That's okay. I was just jabbering. Yeah, I was starting to say that the Mets split with the Braves. The funny thing is, okay, they lost on Monday. Blackburn pitched. Soto hit a home run in the sixth, but they lost on Monday. Tuesday, and it looks like Chris is having problems, so I'm going to go on. So Tuesday, the Mets wasted on Tuesday a beautiful start by Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas, who we've been talking about. We did not want to see him in a Mets uniform because we know what's happened with him. A lot of problems with Frankie Montas. But guess what happened? Frankie Montas pitched a gem on Tuesday.
Surprise.
Yeah, 5 innings, right? 3 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts. And we thought, well, you know what? The Mets are going to win tonight. But Brazoban comes in. The bullpen really imploded. Castillo and Dickie Lovelady, who lasted, as long as a blink, came in, and the Mets they blew that. After the game, Lovelady and Castillo were DFA'd, and Met fans and myself were thinking, can it get any worse? But Wednesday, Holmes the stopper. Could you believe this, Chris? Really? Could you believe this?
Holmes the stopper. I never thought
He comes in Wednesday. The Mets bats start to come alive. Soto hits 2 home runs. Mauricio, who we didn't know what was going to happen, Mauricio hits a home run. And the bullpen was good. Up until Jonathan Pintaro made his major league debut, and I felt sorry for the kid. He got his first strikeout, and it looked like, the nervousness and everything stopped, but then, he gave up runs, and Diaz had to come in, and it turned into a save situation. But the Mets got the win. Holmes, we talked about this before. Holmes pitched a lot of innings so far this year, more than he's ever pitched. And Holmes he's been amazing for the Mets, just amazing. We thought that the innings were gonna, kill him, but he looked good. After he looked tired the last couple of starts, but he looked good the other night. So, you know what? I don't know what they're gonna do. Are they gonna rest him? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But so far, so good. He's all right. But listen, he's in uncharted territories right now. With everything, with his pitching, these innings. So you could be a little nervous about Holmes. But what do you think about Holmes right now, Chris, with the innings and how he pitched the other night?
No, you know what? I think you gotta keep running with him, right? I mean, obviously the Mets have a plan. We're not sure. Are they going to limit him towards the end of the season, going into the playoffs, and maybe put him into the bullpen for the postseason? That could be what their plan is. But yeah, like you said, this is uncharted territory for him. We made we put up a post a couple of days ago about.
Oh boy, Chris is really having this is the first time we've ever had problems like this. I don't know what's going on with Chris's connection, but I guess you guys are gonna have to listen to me. Last night, anyway, we'll talk about last night while Chris is gone. He's back.
I don't know why this keeps happening. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, this has never happened, but that's all right. We'll get through it. Let's talk about Canning and last night. The Mets shut out the Braves last night. Alonso, McNeil, Taylor provided the offense, but of course, there had to be something bad that happened, and that's Canning injured his Achilles, and we're waiting for the MRI results, so we don't know what's going on, but June has not been a good month for Mets starting pitchers at all. I don't know what they're going to have to. They're going to have to make a deal. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to get some pitching, because if he's out for a long time and Senga's out for a long time and McGill is out for a long time, the Mets are in trouble. So
And
something
too, right?
Yeah, and we don't know what's going on with Minaya either. He had to stop pitching for a couple of days. So it's just, I don't know. It doesn't look good for Mets pitching right now. Can Frankie Montas repeat himself? That's what worries me. We know what his record is. We know how he pitches. Pleasant surprise. And of course, the Mets wasted. They wasted that game. If out of all those games, that was the one that I was mostly pissed about, because they wasted. Did you think he was going to pitch that great after what he did in his rehab starts,
right?
In the minors, right?
I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen, right? Montas has been horrible in his rehab starts, and then he comes up and he throws you 6 shutout innings. Yeah,
it was unbelievable, and I really thought they were going to win, but they didn't. So that's what happened with the series with the Braves. They split it, which is good. They're in first place again. All right, it's a half game against the Phillies. The Phillies have lost 3 in a row, so things are looking pretty up as the Mets travel to Pittsburgh, where they better sweep the Pirates, because they're not even facing Skeen. So come on. They got to continue this. That's a team that they have to beat up on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a sweep has to happen here to bounce back. But like you said, the starting rotation is definitely a question mark now. The bullpen's been good, other than that first game with in the home start. But for the most part, it's been really solid. But yeah, obviously pitching is going to be, priority number one here for the Mets. In the next few weeks before the deadline to add definitely a starting pitcher and probably a bullpen arm as well. So it's going to be interesting how they go, because we've been talking about it. There's not many options out there right now, because so many teams are still in it right now in the playoff races. So until teams really, poop the bed the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a wait and see, like right now, who are you going to trade with? Colorado? Yeah. The Marlins, at this point, there's not many. The White Sox, I don't know who you're going to get, but that's really what you got as your options right now. So
right now, and Joe Dell says you got to believe. Yeah, you got to believe,
you got it, man.
That's true. And right now, listen, the Mets are in first place again. And the way they were playing the first 2 games of this series against Atlanta, I really didn't think that was going to happen. I thought that the Mets they had a chance, I thought, of getting swept again by Atlanta. And Jonathan says, yes, Soto is fun to watch when he's playing good. Listen, Soto has had an amazing June. he's had a Soto-like June, right, guys? The guy's starting to hit home runs now. He's having fun. You could see it. See, that's what the difference is. You saw the pressure on his face in April and May. Now you're seeing smiles. He's joking around with his teammates. He's taking the pictures in the dugout after the home runs, and he's smiling, and they're all goofing around. That's good because Soto is hitting. And even though the Mets had this stretch where, they had their problems scoring runs, Soto was hitting. So, yeah, Jonathan, it's great to see that he's, the Juan Soto that we hoped we were going to get.
Yeah, it was a matter of time, right? I mean, we both said it, that it was a matter of time with Soto. It's frustrating from the Mets fan side, for the first couple of months, because it's like, okay, let's see what, we want to see more for what we paid for with this guy. And obviously it's coming back now in June. I mean, this is Soto. This is Juan Soto. Like you said, yeah, the pressure was on himself. I think he put it more on himself than anybody else the first 2 months, right? So because of the contract and everything, and you're not going to answer those questions in the first 2 months, no matter what you do, you just can't, right?
You can't.
So it
Right.
didn't make sense. You just got to go out, like you said, have fun and play ball. And that's what Soto is doing right now. And
Yeah. And the fans in Citi Field were chanting his name. It got pretty loud. They were chanting Soto the other night. So right now it looks like he's having fun. He's got that back, he's got it back. So I'm not worried about Soto anymore. And hopefully that's a dead issue and we don't have to hear anything. Luckily, when the Mets play the Yankees next weekend, it's going to be at Citi Field. And that's a good analogy Joe Dell has. It's like a new musician in a band. It takes time, to gel. Like I'll, think of Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, right? When he replaced David Lee Roth.
In any sport, you could compare it to any sport too, right? Like it takes, usually few games, a few weeks, whatever it takes for every sport for a player to gel with his teammates. And here, obviously it wasn't a big move going from the Yankees to the Mets. It's the same, basically the same city. So he didn't have to move, and it's not going from East Coast, West Coast. But yeah, I mean, it's a big adjustment going to a different team, no matter who it is. So it definitely shows. But now, like you said, he's just having fun, and you could see the team is having fun, and it's starting to rub off. And you could see and just watching the Braves, we talked about them too. Like we knew they weren't going away, and they're still not going to go away. There's too much talent on that team for it to be like, okay, we're going to put the white flag up in a couple of weeks and we're going to start selling. That ain't happening, especially with Acuna coming back and playing great in the few games the few weeks he's been back. So, yeah, I mean, the Braves are going to be back. The Phillies are the team that's like hot and cold. They are just a pure streaky team. If you play them when they're hot, like when you did, yeah, you know what? You're probably going to have a hard time with them. But then you see them the last couple of days against the Astros, they can't hit, but that's been their MO ever since I think last year too, especially against you guys. They just, it's cold.
I just think the Phillies, the Phillies to me got old pretty fast. And I think that might just be the effects of it. They looked last year. We know how they looked in the postseason against the Mets. They looked tired, and they're very streaky this year. Now, Jonathan thinks that the Mets probably lose to the Yankees next week because of the injuries. The pitcher is starting pitching, but who knows?
Yeah,
Chris doesn't even want to say anything about that right now because we're going to get into what happened with the Yankees in Cincinnati, Chris. So we're going to go right to that.
Good. It started off great. The first inning of the first game, Judge hits a home run, and we thought, all right, this is going to be great. But then that was the only run they scored in the first game. They ended up losing 6-1. Winans was brought up to start because Yarborough was put on the IL. He pitched as good or bad as you would expect him to pitch in his first start this season in the majors. So nothing great. Offense, obviously, that was the only run they scored. The offense just could not get going. Couldn't get the big hit with runners in scoring position. it's like a broken record with the Yankees when they get into this funk. So they lost that one. The second game, they had the lead, and then they blew it. Loizaga gave up a couple of runs, gave up 3 runs to tie the game. And then we ended up losing 5-4 in extra innings. Leiter, they ended up trying to extend him an extra inning and didn't work out. And again, the Yankees lose another extra inning game on the road. They've only won 1 game all year in extra innings. And the last road game that they won in extra innings was the Juan Soto home run that he hit in the ALCS at Cleveland last year. So that shows you how bad the Yankees are doing right now in extra innings. They just, what it is, they can't get the guy over from second to third, the ghost runner from second to third to get him home. And they're just not getting the big hit, and they're not doing the small things. And when you don't do either one, guess what? You're going to lose games, especially in extra innings like that. So
yeah, but Chris, this is what I'm wondering. Don't these guys know how to bunt? I mean,
No,
it's not only the Yankees. It's not only the Yankees. It's the Mets. It's all these teams I watch in extra innings with these ghost runners. They have a hard time bunting them over to third. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It looks like they just don't know how to bunt. And, I think they got to work on that stuff. They got to work on the fundamentals on baseball, especially if you have a stupid ghost runner, which I hate, and most people hate it. If you're going to have a ghost runner, don't you think the guy should be, in batting practice? Don't you think they should try to practice on bunting, get a bunting expert or someone? Because it looks ridiculous that they can't bunt the runner to third.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I get it when you're on the road. The excuse is, all right, if you get the guy in, that's 1 run. So now when the home team comes up, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to bunt the guy over to third, sack fly him in, right, whatever, and we got a tie game, and we're back to the same thing. So I get the road team has to score more than 1 run in the extra innings, right? I'll buy that argument. But when you're home, right, you still have to do that, right? When you're home and you need that 1 run, like you said, just bunt the guy over to third and then sack fly him in, right? I mean, it's not that hard, but these analytical nerds, they think, you're giving up and out by bunting. And so I hate it, and it makes no sense to me, but we are where we are right now. And the Yankees, obviously, when they can't come up with a big hit, which unfortunately has happened all month, it's just bad. So now we're back to, being in a funk, but thankfully they did win the last game. Max Fried, great. Again, he's been great all season. I think he's had 1 really bad start. Other than that, he's been really good all season long. They end up winning 7-1. So let's hope they take that offense into the next series, who are playing the A's at home for a quick 3-game series. But it's frustrating when you lose to these teams, and that's why you look back, the Boston series, Baltimore, teams that you should be beating, and you're just not. You got to win these series. You can't lose series to teams that you are better than. On paper, you are the better team. It's as simple as that. And if this team was playing any better, they would be running away with this division, and they should be, because they're better than the rest of the division. And that's the frustrating part. You guys, at least are in a tougher division. You got 2 other teams that you got to really worry about. Really good. The rest of the league is really tough. The American League, who's really good in the American League? The Tigers. That's really about it. The Astros are playing probably above their head right now, but still, that the rest of the league is not that good. And I look back at the Yankees. I was thinking about this for the last few days, and I figured I'd talk to you about this. And when I look at the Yankees, and the last time they won the World Series was 2009. So I could think about the team before 2009 and back. What was the difference between 2009 and back and 2009 and forward? What are the differences? Because since 2009, listen, we didn't have the core 4. I get it. That's the first thing people are going to say. Oh, we didn't have the core 4. Those guys, I get it. They're winners, everything. I agree. But we've had pretty good teams since 2009, and teams that were good enough to get to the World Series and win it, right? They're built to win, all that. I just don't feel to me, the big difference between the two eras, 2009 and before and 2009 after, is I don't feel the urgency from the Yankees. And it starts at the top, from the ownership and the front office. I just don't feel that, listen, we got to win the World Series. Not that, oh, we got to get back to the World Series, we're the Yankees. It's like before in 2009, before, it was like, we're getting back to the World Series. Like, that's what
Yeah.
we're doing. It's World Series or bust. I don't feel that anymore from the front office, from ownership,
I-
from the players. Like, you just don't see it in them. That I don't feel the urgency. Like when they were going through that bad stretch last week with Boston and Baltimore and getting shut out, the Angels they were losing to. Like the big question. I remember they were talking to Judge. It was like, oh, you know.
Oh, Chris disappeared again, so I'm going to continue. Sorry, guys. This is the first time this has happened where Chris has been having problems. But to answer
Sorry.
Chris's question, I'm going to say, number one, George Steinbrenner. Okay, that's the difference right there. George Steinbrenner, listen, Hal, the family, it's just not like having George in charge of everything, right? George wanted to win the World Series. He wanted to win it every year, and he did, even though he made, let's face it, in the 80s and early 90s, and we know the problems he had, and then he was, when he was suspended and all that other stuff, and he made some stupid signings, he made some stupid moves, but still, George Steinbrenner did what he had to do, and he wanted to be a winner every year. So that's one of the biggest, I think, differences between the Yankees from that era and the Yankees now. Also, I'm going to give another name, Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, that's a big difference, okay? Derek Jeter, no matter what, and listen, I'm the biggest Met fan you could be, and Derek Jeter was a pain in the ass against the New York Mets, and we all know that. But Derek Jeter is another reason why the Yankees of back then were the Yankees, who had to win. And if they didn't win, it was unacceptable. Joe Dell says that the father won it like George ran it like a corporation. And he did win it like a corporation, ran it like a corporation. You're right. But also, he loved that the Yankees were the team in New York City. Okay, he loved when the Yankees won and that the Mets lost, and I hated that. Of course, as a Met fan, I hated that. He didn't want to be number two. It must have killed him in the early 80s. Well, starting from 84, so the mid 80s, when the Mets were better than the Yankees, it killed them. But that was one of the main reasons why, the Yankees are different now, because the family just doesn't have what George had. And they, I kind of, Joe, to go back on your thing, I kind of think they run it more like a corporation. He ran it with a tough hand like a general, but he wanted to win. They,
Right.
they're sort of different now. Like I think if George owned the Yankees, Boone would not be manager today of the Yankees. There's no way going this long without winning a World Series. No, I don't care. I don't think, Chris, what do you think? I don't think Boone would be the Yankees manager if Steinbrenner was still alive.
No, with these kind of results, there's no way. The one thing I think it would be run differently is it wouldn't be all with the analytics the way it is now. I think he would give Boone the chance to manage more on his own. I don't know if it would be any better. I'm not saying it would be, but I think that would be the difference. I think, I think Joe said the opposite, right? And you said it too. I think Steinbrenner didn't run it like a corporation. He ran it like a team.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Good, you're out. If you don't manage good, you're out. Like here, it's like, oh, don't worry. Like let's go back with the analytics and let's let them run it, everything. So I think in that way it would be different. But yeah, I just don't feel the urgency with this organization from top to bottom. And it's not just one thing; it's from top to bottom. But it's got to change at the top with Hal Steinbrenner. He's
And
got to
you
be
want to,
more, you know.
and I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay, it's the players, but not in the way not in the talent or anything like that. It's in the players where they really don't have. And I'm not talking about Judge, because you could, Judge, I'm not including in this conversation, but they don't have that Yankee winning, traditional feeling among them. They don't really know what that is. The other guys, because it just, no matter who owned, even when CBS owned the Yankees, and they were bad after, they were great. So for so many years, there was still that Yankee thing, the Yankee aura. It's not the same with these players. They don't have that Yankee tradition. So I think that's another thing that's changed. Because players don't, the core four, they stayed together all those years, basically, and now that's not how baseball is, like you saw. Soto was really a rental for the Yankees. So he was there. They got to the World Series. They lost the World Series. He left. He signed with the Mets. It's not like it used to be. That's just my opinion. Those things, for me, that's a big reason why things are different.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think that's the biggest problem, because I'm not going to call the team cheap, because they've spent as much as anybody else. Maybe the Mets spent a little more and the Dodgers a little more, but I think that starts at ownership. Ownership doesn't go that, okay, they go the extra mile, but they don't go the extra mile that the Dodgers have, right? The Dodgers are the team that they sign everybody they need and then some,
Yes.
right? They trade for whoever they want. I don't see the Yankees doing that. Right, we've bypassed.
Okay, the Yankees are, poor Chris is having problems with it. So I'm just gonna finish that out, where it's they listen. The Yankees spend money; they still spend money, but they don't go the extra mile like the Mets did. But you know what, Steve Cohen? There's not too many people like Steve Cohen, with deep pockets like Steve Cohen. The Dodgers have it, and we know what the Dodgers have done. But we'll, that's how I feel. But Chris, do you want to? I want to plug my friend's business. Do you want to put that up now before you might get knocked off again?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on here.
That's okay. Hey, it happens. So they'll just have to listen to me jabber on and on.
Thank God you're here. So there's
okay. Yeah, this is Grant, my friend and a big Met fan, Keith Winnick, my friends, and Greg Winnick, Winnick Brothers Magicians. They're opening up their first store at 141 Franklin Avenue in Nutley, New Jersey, next week, June 30th through July 3rd, okay? They're going to give free magic shows that Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. All the info is up there, their phone number, their website. Listen, these guys are funny. They'll do weddings, kiddie parties. If you want to learn tricks and how to become a magician, they're going to teach classes. They're going to do it all. And, they're going to be on the show in the future, where we're setting it up. And when they come on the show, they're actually going to do tricks during the show. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I can't wait to talk to them. To both of them. Keith used to go to Met games with me in the 90s, not only at Shea Stadium, but we used to drive to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia when the Mets played the Phillies. We had a lot of good times, we saw a lot of great games. We saw games when Strawberry was at his best, and we had a lot of fun. So check it out. If you're looking for a musician in the New York area, New Jersey area, call them. All right, give them a call. Their website, check out their website. It was just up, and they're great guys. They're fun. You're going to enjoy them, even if you want to have them at a wedding. Some people have Mr. and Mrs. Met at their wedding, right? Why not have them do magic tricks and comedy? So I would suggest, check them out on their website and give them a call if you're interested. And they'll be on the show soon. So it's It's really going to be a fun show. I can't wait for it. I love when we have guests, Chauncey Hayden. We've had Chauncey Hayden. We had ex-Met Cub pitcher Eddie Lynch. We've had a bunch of guests, and we have a bunch of them coming up. So check out Winnick Brothers, and check out their grand opening next week at 141 Franklin Avenue in Nutley, New Jersey. And Chris is gone again, so I'm going to talk about a couple of things. We were talking about the Rays. What happens if the Rays get into the postseason? Me and Chris have been talking about this all season. What if the Rays? We also said if the A's get in, but forget about that. What if the Rays get into the postseason? What are they going to do? Are they going to play at Steinbrenner Field? Well, now the Rays and Major League Baseball are both talking about that, and they have a few plans in the making. So it looks like they're either going to play in Miami or Atlanta. I think that Miami would be, the choice because it's Florida, but who knows? That's up to Major League Baseball. They said that, for the divisional round, the wild card and the divisional round, they still would play in Steinbrenner Field. They would still play in Steinbrenner Field because of the way the revenue sharing works. It won't affect them too much. I still can't see how they could play a wild card series or they could play the division series in a small park. Steinbrenner Field only has like 10,046 seats. So to me, I don't understand how they and I'm laughing because if you read Joe Dell's comment, that's why I'm laughing. But I don't know how they could play a game of that importance in a minor league field, in a spring training facility. I really do not know how they could do it, but we'll see what happens. I would go for Miami. Atlanta, they might do Atlanta because of just logistics, but I don't know. And it also depends who they're playing too. So we'll see what happens with that. I wanted to also bring up Jacob deGrom for you Met fans out there. He pitched 7 no-hit innings the other night against the Baltimore Orioles. And let me tell you, he was the deGrom of old. He was just amazing. I think his pitch count was like only 86 pitches. He had a perfect game going up until, the last minute. He was amazing. He was the Jacob deGrom that we remember. And I wish deGrom nothing but the best. Was I bummed he left the Mets? Yeah, but listen, let's face it, even no matter what he's doing now, even if he didn't get hurt, he still wouldn't have been the deGrom that we were used to because he was injury prone, too much money to spend on someone so injury prone. So the Mets made a good move. You can't go back. But listen, I'm happy that deGrom pitched like that the other night. And listen, he's doing great. He's 8-2 this year with a 2.08 ERA, and he has 94 strikeouts. So he's doing great for the Texas Rangers. And Joe Dell says deGrom brought many good years to the Mets. Yeah, he did. Listen, 2 Cy Youngs. You couldn't ask for more. Listen, if he didn't have the injuries, we would be talking about probably a Hall of Fame career for Jacob deGrom. But, the injuries and the wins, let's face it, when he was a Met, he didn't, win too many games because of that. The Mets offense at the time. And anytime he had a lead, we remember what happened with deGrom, with the Mets. The Mets would blow the game. The Mets wouldn't score runs for him. It was just, the reason why he didn't have that many wins. But wins don't even count like they used to anymore. We're never going to see a 300 win pitcher. Never. So we'll never see that. I'm just happy for deGrom. He's pitching like he used to pitch, and, I'm very happy for him. Now, there's a couple other things that happened this week in baseball that sort of a black eye on baseball. Let's talk about what happened to Ketel Marte in Chicago. Okay, a 22-year-old Chicago White Sox fan, and I'm not even going to read his name. I'm not even going to say his name. He said some really, really stupid, hurtful things about Marte's mom, who died in a car accident. He actually brought Marte to tears. The guy was crying, and I don't want to hear, because I saw a lot of stuff on social media like, why don't these guys toughen up, blah blah blah. That wasn't, that was a small amount of people saying that. Listen, guys, unless you went through something like that, you don't know how it feels. Okay, the guy got emotional. His mom died in a car accident. Come on, and you got this fan crying. I mean, this fan yelling at him and making Marte cry. Ridiculous, ridiculous. So what happens to this fan? He's now banned from all Major League Baseball parks for, well, right now, they didn't say for how long, but it may be for life. So there you go, idiot. Now you're banned and you can't go back. It's ridiculous. And Wander Franco, I want to say, from the Rays, was found guilty of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic, okay? But he only received a suspended sentence of 2 years, and if he follows whatever rules they have in the Dominican Republic, they will probably, that'll be it. So he only got 2 years suspended sentence. I mean, I don't know what to say. He said she lied about her age. Guys, I think you got to find out about, ages now. You really do, because, look at what happens. You got to be very careful. So now I think the Rays are going to look to get that contract voided. And I think it probably will be voided. And I don't even know if he's going to be allowed back into the country anyway, since he is convicted of the crime. Even though it's a suspended sentence, he's convicted of that crime. So I don't think he should even be let back into the country. But other than that, let's get back to the Mets real quick. Looking forward to the Pirates series in Pittsburgh. That park is beautiful, but that's about it. With the Pirates, there's not too much going on. They don't have Skeens. They don't have to face Skeens, which I guess is a good thing. But if they don't sweep the Pirates, then, something's wrong. Hey, Chris, welcome back. I think they're getting sick of listening to me talk.
Yeah, no, sorry, guys. I don't know. I don't think it's the Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is perfect. I don't know. I think it's the browser I'm using, maybe. So I'll have to try using a different browser next time. But
right, you want to know something, Chris, real quick. The last two shows, you were actually freezing for like a second, but then it restarted. So that might be what it is, but that's all right. We already talked. We talked about Wander Franco. We talked about the kid who yelled nasty things at Marte. So if you have any opinions on that stuff, just let me know. I already talked about it. Hey,
listen, with Franco, I'm just amazed that he's going to be out of jail and the mother of this girl is going to be in jail. I think she should be in jail anyway, but he certainly should be in jail too for what he did. I don't care what she told you about age at this stage of your life, and you just sign a huge contract with the Rays. I mean, you got to be careful. You got to be sure of what you're doing. So it makes no sense. But I just hope no matter what happens, I just hope he's never allowed to play in Major League Baseball ever again. Hopefully that's
I don't think he will be.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And the Marte thing, thankfully they banned the guy from ever going to a game again, which is good. I get it's free speech and all that, but there's no reason to get personal like that. The way he did, it's horrible. And obviously, you don't get into that stuff. Listen, you could boo the guy, you could talk trash about the guy, about the way he's playing, all that stuff. Yeah, we have the right to do that, I guess, but not getting personal like that. That's bad, so I'm happy that Major League.
Yep, and he's gone again. So anyway, so Chris is happy that they banned that guy for life. I am definitely happy that they banned him for life too. Well, I don't even know if it's for life. Banned him for a while, but all right. And he is only 22 years old, so I don't know if he should be banned for life. But give him a punishment. Ban him for 5 years or whatever, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll let him come back in after 5 years if he apologizes or whatever. But Joe Dell says not even Jet fans wouldn't take it to that level. Jet fans, how about Philadelphia Philly fans? If you want to talk about a fan base.
Right, exactly.
That's a good one. Are the Winnick brothers, Joe Dell, that's a good one. Are the Winnick brothers making Chris disappear? It's all part of their act.
There you go.
The Winnick brother magicians.
It's their first magic trick on our show. So yeah,
they made Chris disappear a ton of times. But like I said before, the Winnick brother magicians, check out their website definitely for all your magic needs. Look what they did. They made Chris disappear like 8 times already, they made me talk nonstop.
They're doing a pretty good job.
and Jonathan, talking crap and harassing ball players is normal, and ball players should know it's part of the job. Yeah, I agree with that, but to a certain extent, I could see where this is a little different. We don't know, unless something like that happened to you, Jonathan. His mother died tragically, so that's a different story. Me personally, if it happened to me, that stuff doesn't bother me. I'm used to getting abused, so that wouldn't bother me. But some people it bothers them, and we don't know how they feel.
Especially getting that personal, that was bad. That was getting really personal.
It was getting really personal. All right, let's go to. Well, we have Chris here with us. Let's go to the All Star, the first round of the All Star voting, whatever they call it. What did you think? Judge is already the starter, right?
Yeah. Here's the National League. Before I conk out again, here's the National League finalists. First base, you got Freeman. Now the voting goes to just these 2 guys at each position. And outfield, you got the 6 there.
And he's gone. Okay, Jonathan, let me bring up your post. If you made $30 million a year, talk about my mom all you want. Yeah, me too. I'll take the $30 million, definitely. And you could say whatever you want. So there you go. All right. So you were showing the chart, and Judge is already an All-Star, right?
Yeah, Judge is already in, and Ohtani's already in. Because they were the top 2. They were the top vote getters in each league. But this just shows you who you could vote for now in the final phase. Freddie Freeman or Alonso. So obviously, Met fans, you got to go out there, get on your computer, and vote as much as you can for Alonso. Get him in. Second base, Marte is probably going to win now, without a doubt. I mean, he was up by a lot anyway, but he should beat Tommy Edman there. To me, and vote for Lindor, obviously, get him in. Yeah. We've said that a million times. To me, the biggest thing is the outfield. Like, why isn't James Woods up there for the National League?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that guy should be, he's probably going to make it as a reserve, but he should be
I think so
right now.
Yeah, he's going to be there as reserve. Well, the Yankees, listen, also Rice and Goldschmidt have a chance, right?
Yeah. Good look at the AL here. Yeah, I mean, Guerrero's probably having a little better season than Goldschmidt. So, and then Gleyber Torres, former Yankee.
There you go.
He looks like he's going to start the All-Star game here. Pretty amazing. The American League outfield looks pretty weak when you're looking at it. Trout. It'd be cool to see Trout in the All-Star game. He's healthy. He's not having a great season, but you know what? It'd be great to see him in there.
Yeah, but the one you're talking about Torres. You know who I'm talking about, right? Javi baby Baez.
Oh boy. Yeah, what a
Yeah,
season that guy's having compared to what he's been the last few years. He's been really bad in Detroit. So
yeah, it's I don't even want to hear that guy. Oh man, that was like we talked about last show. What a stupid move the Mets made when they got him. That was just I think he just changed everything in the clubhouse too. He was just, he was a
yeah.
cancer in that clubhouse.
Well, why Devers is not up there now is because Ohtani had the most votes and
Yeah.
he's the DH. So Devers is listed as a DH in the National League. So maybe he makes it as a reserve. That's a possibility. But that's the reason
Yeah.
why you don't see him on the National League ballot.
Yeah, probably. I think he probably makes it as a DH, but I don't know. Chris, you have anything else since you are having problems with your thing? We'll I didn't get to hear much. Yeah.
I think we're done. I mean, just looking ahead, we got the A's, you guys got the Pirates. We both got series that we should win. Hopefully we both end up winning, and hopefully Monday we come back here. I'm in better shape than what I have been right now, and we're talking about good things after this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So listen, we're all over the place now. You guys have been great. TikTok, we're getting so many followers. X, Facebook Live, people are watching us. We got people everywhere, and we just want to thank you guys. Continue it. Tell people about it. Oh yeah, you got to also mention the other guys with the baseball network.
Yeah, Romantic About Baseball. It's a Facebook group. It's a huge Facebook baseball group that they just let us join their family of podcasts, and there's a bunch of other podcasts in there. Definitely check them out. I'm afraid to post something here, but I'm going to see if I could get to it. But we just joined them. It's a really cool group. If you love baseball, definitely check them out on Facebook. They're also on X as well. A great group. They have a bunch of hold on.
They have a bunch of podcasts that they're with. So
definitely check them out. Hold on. I just want to get there one post that has all of them.
Yeah, they're definitely a good group if you want to check them out on Facebook. We've been getting listeners and viewers because of them. So we appreciate it. We just we're doing great on everything. But if you guys have anyone who loves baseball, just if you could have them check us out on YouTube, that would be great.
Yeah, there's their group, Romantic About Baseball. Check them out. These are just some of the podcasts that are included, including ours. Check them out as well for a great listen on baseball as well. They're doing great things on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, definitely give them a follow, a like, whatever. Join the group and be a part of it. Great discussions, great posts every day on baseball. So definitely check them out.
Yeah, definitely check them out. Well, that's it. We're going to be back next Monday at 3:00. Chris will get everything fixed, so you won't have to listen to me go on and on. And I just we want to thank you guys.
Yep, and sorry again for the for the issues here for us, but thank you. And remember, hit that sub button for us on YouTube, or give us a follow everywhere else, so you know when the next show is coming up, and you guys could be a part of the show just as much as everybody else is.
Definitely. And we'll catch you guys Monday. Thanks.